Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show.
Special guest today is not a new guest, it's our favorite guest. The favorite guest of the Raw Life Health Show. And it is our friend, John Kohler.
Literally, so don't add too much. You know, even if you're on the airplane, right, you want some kind of raw soup, because I always drink the water on the airplane. I don't, have anything else on the airplane. It's really toxic. But you could take this and put it in the water that they give you, and then this will fluff up, and it's just really easy to eat. Tastes really good too. I also actually just had some chlorella tablets, like to travel with some dried powders. And I'm not a big fan of, taking a lot of dried fruits and nuts. I mean, I used to do that, but now I'm more at the place where, you really want to travel with fresh fruits and fresh vegetables, because, you know what, our bodies are 70 to 75% water, and if we're not eating things that are at least that high percentage in water, it's going to dehydrate us. So any dehydrated, fruits and nuts, when you eat them, are going to dehydrate you and take your water, so you're going to need more water. So, I'd rather bring some fresh fruits with me in my pockets, like in my back pockets when I go through the magnetic detector, and they don't usually have to get x-rayed that way. But I'll give if you ever see me at a talk, I give a hilarious talk about, getting your food through the TSA without getting it x-rayed, legally. So you want to take a couple things with you, try to eat fresh, and the other thing, like on the daylight diet, if you take an overnight flight, you don't need to eat during the night. Even in the daytime, you don't need to eat. You could just, drink water. Just stay hydrated on the plane. You don't really need to eat, and, so you don't need to bring all this food with you. You don't need to bring a whole bunch of dried foods with you. A lot of people talk about traveling raw. They take all these dried foods, and, that's really not too healthy for us, in my opinion. So I'd rather have you travel with fresh foods, and then when you get to your location, then go to the health food store, or the grocery store, and get some fresh foods to eat. I also travel with, and this one's really cool, is, I guess this thing is, I don't know, a butter spreader? I don't know, I got it at a trade show, but this thing is like a knife, and I've taken this through the TSA 100 times, and it's never gotten taken away from me. But, I mean, it's not sharp, it can't cut you, but you know what, this goes through, watermelons, cantaloupes, avocados. I mean, it'll cut like a head of lettuce, It does do pretty good, and they won't take this away from you, because you can't take any kind of metal knives, and so this is something that's really saved me in many, many cases. So those are a couple of my tips. You can see me if you want to see the full talk. I gave a full talk. You can bring other things with you. Sometimes I talk about bringing, if you're going for a longer trip, I have taken blenders with me. I brought a little personal blender with me on a cruise ship when I took a cruise to the Caribbean, and made coconut smoothies, green smoothies on the cruise ship. That was really good. Sometimes, I took to Fiji a hand crank blender, because the power, is not, they don't use 110 volts over there. So I was hand cranking my coconut smoothies over in Fiji. In Europe one time I took a hand crank juicer. So we were juicing basically with the hand crank, because once again the power is different. Oh, in Germany this last time I went, actually the first thing I did was I bought a cheap blender right when I got into town, so I could make all my smoothies. It's a 220 volt blender, and I made all my smoothies with it for my trip, brought it back to the United States, and then put it on eBay and sold it for like $5 less than I bought it. So you can have the equipment, and buy it when you land. You don't necessarily have to bring it with you. That being said, I have traveled with, juicers with me before, depending on the length of the trip. But you know what? You don't necessarily need to bring a juicer. You could just eat, whole fruits and whole vegetables. Most of the time when I'm traveling, especially to foreign countries, I can't find the organics, and I don't want to buy organics because they're like really expensive. I'll try to get locally grown food, and I'll eat mostly, fruits, and I'll maybe won't eat as many vegetables, because I don't want to trust non-organic vegetables, but anything that's usually sealed and fruits, I'll eat that fine. So that's pretty good. But yeah, and if you're traveling by car, the one thing you have to get, because using a cooler with ice filled in it to keep your stuff cold is just old school. It's just not cool. Your stuff gets really soggy, it gets all wet, so that they have these really cool things. They're called thermoelectric coolers, and you definitely want to take one of those for any trip an hour or more away from your home, so you can keep your food cold in the car. And basically what it is you plug it into your cigarette lighter, and actually in the back of my car I have a power port, and I just plug that in, and it keeps all the food cold, and it doesn't use any ice, and it just runs, and it works really well. So any long road trips, you definitely want to get one of those. The cheapest place to buy one of those is actually Walmart, of all places. Not that I want to condone shopping at Walmart, but they have the best deal on that. And if you get the one at Walmart, it usually comes with an adapter so that you can actually plug it into the wall and then plug the cigarette lighter into that. So say you get a hotel room that doesn't have a refrigerator, which you should also be getting, you could use this inside the hotel room as a little mini fridge. And the other thing, my other tip is that on hotels, you want to stay at like suite hotels, you know, like in Extended Stay America that usually have, you know, a mini kitchen, not a kitchenette. I mean, some of these hotels have full-size refrigerators, you know, so countertops, you can prepare food. They even give you silverware and plates and everything. So that makes, you know, your stay really easy. So look for something like an Extended Stay America or one of the hotel chains that have, you know, the full kitchenettes in them, and that'll make your stay much easier. So Paul, unless you have any other questions for me, I think I've given a good overview on how and how to stay raw and the best way to stay raw while you're traveling.
Okay, everybody, that's John with all his travel tips. If you want some more of his tips, you can just go to his website. His main website is okraw.com, and I'm sure you can find his contact information on there. Also, if you have any travel tips or you just want to know more, just post comments below this video so other people can learn what you do when you travel. I'm sure people want to see that. And did John say old school? That's John, our favorite guest. And John and his little mini butter knife. Great tips. I travel a long time. I travel many places, and John's tips are wonderful. They work. They're great. So this is Paul Neeson with the Raw Life Health Show, and this beautiful beard coming in saying, have a great day and a hairy raw life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life.